Hi everyone, welcome to North and South Podcasts. This is Tim. Hope you've had a nice weekend. A couple of things before we get started. This is just going to be a short one with me speaking today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at North Podcasts and also to contribute financially if you can through coffee.com, even if you give me £1 once a month, the price of a coffee or a pint once a month. That would really help me to get this message out there and to expand it moving forward. So do share, speak to others. If you can give this to 3 other people, that would be great as well. Spreading the word. I'm going to be doing a lot more podcasts with Hope Street, who are a fantastic mental health and wellbeing organisation in Ormskirk in West Lancashire, in the northwest of England. So I'm going to be doing more stuff with them moving forward. There'll be details about Hope Street in the notes. As well as that, generally I want to expand things as well as doing Hope Street wellbeing podcasts. Obviously, I'm interested in creativity, politics, and history. Also about financial survival. I'm someone who recently, let's just say that my family situation has changed recently, and finances were a big part of that. It's said that in October, up to 8.5 million people are going to be in fuel poverty in the United Kingdom. Food banks and things like that now just seem to be endemic, and it's not good. So I want to speak to people about how they survive financially, what things people can share with others in terms of keeping their head above water, not getting in debt, and managing life and living alternative lifestyles as well. Very interested in that. So if anyone is interested in helping out with anything like that, please let me know. I spoke to a fantastic guy called Steve Reed, who is a guy I used to teach with, about teaching financial literacy in the Wirral, which is across the water from Liverpool on the other side of the River Mersey. So I might speak to Steve again. His podcast will be coming up soon. I recorded it last weekend. I know that not everyone will like all the different podcasts and there's different themes, but I just feel like I need to address all of these things because I'll be honest with you, I love it. I love doing podcasting. I didn't realise how time consuming it would be. I've done 3 this week, and I would like to put more time into it, getting used to technology, getting better at doing it, getting more people on, and I'd love to expand a team. And I want to get a positive, empowering message out there that helps people. Um, I've mentioned coffee.com already, that'll be in the notes. If you want to join the team and do podcasts with me or help me in any way, let me know through Twitter, or if you know me anyway, just let me know. I'm going to speak today a little bit about the Ukraine situation. Now, the war in the Ukraine is like a 9/11 type moment. For a strong nuclear power to invade another country, to just totally disregard the idea of like sovereign nations, etc., and to say to other countries around the world, we've got nuclear weapons, what are you going to do about it? This is very, very unusual, and it was something that the nuclear arms race was meant to prevent, the idea of avoiding escalation. And it's been a little bit anxious around the world recently. But let's just focus on the situation in the Ukraine and appeal for the unconditional condemnation of what Russia has done, or appeal for world unity on condemning what Russia, or more accurately Putin, has done in the Ukraine, and to stand with the Ukrainian people. This war and this invasion needs to stop right now. And I've been a bit concerned with some of these people on the right in weeks gone by. People like Nigel Farage, Marine Le Pen, Donald Trump, these people on Fox News like Tucker Carlson, apparently supporting Putin. I know a few of them have stepped away from that, but we've got a right wing in many of our so-called Western democracies who do not value democracy and free elections, who seem to have an authoritarian streak, and it's very, very scary. Additionally, it's only a small group on the left, but I've encountered apologists for Putin recently on the left who are absolutely scaring the hell out of me. And I would just appeal to those people. You give us all a bad name on the left and the centre left with your behaviour. Please try to be rational and to apply your so-called principles of socialism and democracy all over the world. It's it's ridiculous, some of the things I've heard from people who are apparently on the left. Putin is not a communist, he's not a socialist. And there may well be some fascistic elements to some of the Ukrainian forces and aspects of Ukrainian society. You get that right across Eastern Europe. You certainly get it in Russia as well. To try and paint all of Ukraine as some kind of Nazi government and Nazi organisation is outrageous, and I cannot condemn that more strongly. And anyone who keeps parroting that needs to hold their head in shame. We had Golden Dawn in Greece. We had a far right government, or certainly a party in power in Austria not too long ago. Fascism is a dangerous disease and it exists everywhere. And there may well be elements in the Ukraine, but to try and give that as a reason to justify what Putin has done and to be an apologist for Putin is absolutely disgusting, and I can't condemn that more strongly. Zelensky is a Jew. There's nothing Nazi about the Ukrainian government. There's nothing Nazi about the Ukraine. It's just an absolute fallacy for anyone to make out that there is anything other than that. People go, oh yeah, but there's fascist elements. They're everywhere. And I'm rightly saying now that those fascist elements in the Ukraine need to be severely restricted moving forward. What do we want? We want Ukraine to be independent. We need it to be a liberal democracy. You're not going to get things like a national health service and proper state protection and a decent social contract in authoritarian regimes. So I don't know where you're getting all that from, that Ukraine is some kind of danger to your values on the left. We need an independent, liberal, democratic Ukraine. Now, with regards to fascists, there's only one real fascist in this situation, and that is Vladimir Putin. And I want to differentiate Vladimir Putin from Russia and Russian people, because this is Putin and Putinism. That is the disease in Russia that is causing all these problems. All those conscripted Russians, they're going to die in their thousands because of Putin and his mafia-style government. The Russian citizenry are going to suffer because of this, because of Putin. And there's been a lot of people saying, oh, you can't have sanctions, that'll punish the Russian people. You're right. We need to have sanctions aimed at Putin, Putinism, and the mafia oligarchs around him. We need to hit them hard all over the world and stop them undermining democracy elsewhere. Why do you think Russia's been supporting Brexit and Trump and anti-EU and anti-liberal democracy? Absolutely disgraceful. So this big problem here is with Putin. He kills his opponents, he kills journalists, he empowers oligarchs, and now he's taking the Russian people into a war they don't want. And by the way, does this mean that I don't stand up with the people of Yemen and the Palestinians? You can't say anything about the Palestinians anymore, can you? I stand with all those people, but that doesn't mean that we turn a blind eye to the Ukraine. This is a big, big problem that will affect us directly if we don't get this right, and the whole world. NATO has expanded into Eastern Europe, and maybe there were gentlemen's agreements with the CIS and Russia and the former Soviet states back in the 90s. But the problem for Russia is it's losing the argument. It's effectively a failed state. It's a mafia state. It needs to appeal to people. If I was in Belarus or Ukraine or Russia or Lithuania or Latvia or Estonia or Poland or Finland or Sweden or any of the stands, I wouldn't want anything to do with Russia. Because what does it offer? Pro-Russian governments by hook or by crook, and mafia oligarchy that doesn't help the people, the average people in the street. That's why you've got countries saying, I want to join NATO and I want to turn to the West. There's huge problems with NATO, there's huge problems with the West. Look at our own democracies. We need to get our own house in order. But allowing Putin to have some kind of Monroe Doctrine in Asia and Eastern Europe, that is not helping anyone. It undermines democracy all over the world. The West has been lazy since the end of the Cold War and is now turning in on itself. Look at what's happened in the UK and the US since 2016. Disgusting. We've gone backwards. Hopefully it's just a blip. What does Putin offer? Corruption, authoritarianism and fascism. The guy's a lunatic. He's not stupid. But he's using the madman theory to see how much he can test the West. And he's watching. And China and all these other countries are watching. And Trump's watching. What's Trump going to be trying to do after the 2022 elections in the States? What will happen if the States falls to authoritarianism under Trump in 2024? All those people have been replaced with people who say they will vote down or disregard what the votes cast add up to if they think there's been anything dodgy, basically if they're not happy with the result, right across America and Republican states. What is going to happen in 2024? The world is watching. We've allowed Putin to get to this stage. We've let him get away with absolute murder. We need to be unified. We need to be unified with Ukraine, with the Ukrainian people, with the Russian people, and also those who are being affected in unfashionable wars around the world that we don't always hear about. I've got a friend who was in Ukraine when it all started. Thankfully, she's out now. What is happening in that country is absolutely disgusting, and I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. There's a sense of unreality with what Putin's done, and I want everyone to keep calm and carry on. Let's not call it worse than what it is. We need to be aware of the situation and we need to see what we can do as a world. Now, we've already seen Johnson's government shaken up with the stingy refugee approach and the pathetic attempts to act like some kind of major player in the world. We're not. Liz Truss going around thinking she's Margaret Thatcher or some fantastic statesperson. You're not. You're an embarrassment. And yeah, we need to get our own house in order, but this war in Ukraine needs to stop. And Putin needs to be stopped. And if we don't stand together for things like democracy, the respect of minorities, individual rights around the world, I don't know what the future holds. So there's big things going on. What's Putin going to do here? What's China going to do if Putin gets away with it? Again, those countries aren't stupid, but I'll tell you what is stupid. And that would be a victory for Donald Trump in 2024. He would set back the international order, turn us back on NATO, turn us back on democracy. Why? Because he was already doing that. We know that he would end democracy in the United States if he could and set himself up as an authoritarian leader. We know that that's what might happen. And that might not be the biggest problem that we face moving forward. Boris Johnson's also been let off the hook by this Ukraine thing. We still haven't forgot Boris, the calamity that has occurred in this country since 2019. And people go on about those parties. Okay, yeah, people get angry about things when they say, why are they doing this when I can't do this? And I got fined 600 quid and I couldn't see my parents in hospital and they're no longer with us while Boris is having parties in 10 Downing Street, etc. That does wind people up, but there are much, much bigger issues. The inherent state corruption, which is now hidden in plain sight from 2019. The media in this country letting this government off the hook with utter corruption. And I would appeal to people out there, where are you getting your information from? What happens when you see stuff online? How do you know it's true? What newspapers are you reading? Who owns those newspapers? You know, we need to wake up here, people, and we need to stand together. And the war in the Ukraine is, I never thought I'd see something like this. And let's just hope that there's some kind of positive outcome to all this moving forward. Right, thanks for listening. I just thought I'd speak about the Ukraine. I also wanted to address some of the people I've encountered on the right and the left talking about this. They're just small minorities, but they're a sign of where we're at the moment. The left's nowhere, let's be honest, but people like Farage, he's an odious cancer on this country, and we need to be very careful what we do as a society moving forward in the UK. So get involved, folks. Get involved in campaigns. Know yourself, better yourself, work with others, and let's sort this place out and make it a country to be proud of. We've got a lot to lose. Solidarity with people in the Ukraine, people in Russia, and all others affected around the world by terrible forces such as Putinism. Cheers, folks. See you soon.